With all this activity in Washington, Phil Matier and I asked former San Francisco Mayor Willie Brown if impeachment is inevitable.
Well, I think you've got to say impeachment and removal, because impeachment is like just criticizing me. You know, it's like sending me to the principal's office for 15 minutes. You've got to say removal next to the word impeach for it to mean anything. But, you know, it's almost all over already, period, in terms of the impact to have on him. He seems to be up in the ante as you go about it.
But do Democrats have any choice but to vote for impeachment?
Well, I mean, certainly for folks who are in safe seats, who aren't worried about Trump voters in their district, to some degree they do. And it seems like they already may have the votes to do it, even though the inquiry isn't actually complete just yet.
Right. So the jury has already decided that given what they've said in the past, they've got to, their chances are they can't back down. I mean, there's not going to be some revelation out there that says, oh, he's innocent of everything.
But the problem with it is there's not one Republican who has signed on officially. And you need Republicans.
Well, I mean, not mathematically.
No, not mathematically.
To remove, you need Republicans.
No, but you need Republicans, frankly, to protect every aspect of what this nation is supposed to be about.
Wait, Mayor Brown, that is so 20 years ago.
Oh, man, that's referring to me by age.
Given the mood today, we have a situation where there's a vote to impeach. That doesn't mean removal. That means you take it to the Senate. We could have a vote to impeach and an election going on at the same time.
And weren't some Democrats, I mean, most Democrats didn't vote to impeach Bill Clinton. I think there was just a handful. That was also a fairly partisan vote that happened.
And no question about it. And, the reasons for were dramatically different from what's going on with Trump. What's going on with Trump is a threat to the security of the nation. The only thing that was at risk was Clinton's household.
Well, I'm not sure that people out on the streets are feeling particularly threatened right now, at least by outside forces. They're more threatened by what's going on down the street.
And on Wall Street.
But inside of the what do you call it? Inside of the place where everybody hangs out called Washington, they feel threatened.
Okay,
period.
So they will probably have an impeachment.
And they will vote appropriately, regardless of the risk politically for re-electability.
Oh,
believe me.
I think electability is a big part of this.
Mayor Brown, the look on your face, even you couldn't say that with a straight face. Even you couldn't. All right, back to you guys.
So is this really a question of ethics, or is this a question of outrage in the public? Is that what is going to tip the scales, if anything does, towards impeachment and or conviction?
Well, now that they've already started the inquiry, it's going to be very difficult to not vote for impeachment to some degree. I mean, once you've sort of gotten the ball rolling and you've got enough to sort of begin the inquiry, unless they find some amazing exculpatory evidence, it's hard to believe that this won't actually culminate in a vote. I'll say this, in terms of electability and sort of publicity, now we have 3 committees investigating this Ukrainian situation with regard to impeachment. And that's a lot.
But
usually you don't do 3.
Has outrage spread beyond just the Democrats, or has it been contained?
Well, if you look at the polls, the independents are fairly split on this. Of course, Democrats overwhelmingly outraged, Republicans not, but independents are pretty well split down the middle. A lot of them are both concerned about what the president did in Ukraine and what Biden and his son may or may not have done in Ukraine. I think there are plenty of people who are sort of disgusted by all of it on both sides.
Okay.
Yeah. And Senator Kamala Harris on the cover of Time magazine this morning. And she's been trying to regain her footing in the race following a summer of backsliding in the polls. Phil Matier and I asked former San Francisco Mayor Willie Brown if there's any Democrat in the race right now that could beat Donald Trump.
No, not among the crowd that's already surfaced. There has to be at least one more newcomer, maybe possibly 2. The 2 people on the Democratic side in this country that would have a real chance of defeating Trump would be Barack Obama or Hillary Clinton. Neither one of them are in this contest yet.
Yet?
But you don't think Joe Biden could beat Donald Trump?
It will be very difficult for Joe Biden because this country is focused not on what Trump has done on the criminal side, allegedly, but what Hunter Biden has done protected by his father.
I
It's
want
kind
to
of amazing.
roll this back a little bit. Hillary Clinton, after a couple of years of just being completely outside, she's doing a whole bunch of media appearances these days.
I am telling you, it is becoming eligible for what you got to refer to, Phil, as the rematch.
Well, you know, some people would really like to see that. There's also an interesting constitutional debate about whether you could have a Biden-Obama ticket. Even though the Constitution says you can't run for president more than twice, there is an argument that you could run for vice president after serving as president twice. So
Okay, let's take Obama
that's
out.
always
I
on
know
the table.
Obama's not going to. I don't think that's going to happen. But Hillary, she did get more votes than Trump the round one.
3 million more votes. Her problem was her
Just
people
9.
didn't figure out how you have to also win the states.
Okay, she had more
now
problems
she
than
knows.
that. She had more problems than that. But
Now,
the point
no,
is,
not really. She now knows. Believe me, there are no rules left. If Trump can win the presidency, ultimately anybody can in terms of rule violations. She's in a position to do exactly that now because there's so many people that are embarrassed that they didn't vote for her the first time.
So that really just seems like wish fulfillment. It just seems like pure fantasy. We're just going to have a do-over of 2016.
Well, and you remember Willie Brown has said that Jerry Brown should run and that Nancy Pelosi should also run. So
And Michelle Obama should be on the vice president. So he's floated a number of ideas out there.
he's just putting it out there,
Yes, spitballing.
seeing what sticks.
Okay.